Hello all, Calamera. Welcome back to Geek, Feng Shui. I'm your host and game master, Bob Sellers Jr. Shout out to our friends at Under Pressure Brewing in Golden Valley, Minnesota, which is kind of north of here. South by Southeast and Pine Island, which is nearby. And then we're the former home of Cata Brewing, which unfortunately closed its doors and hopes to reopen once some investors get together and attempt to do that. Hop passports are fun. I have it linked down in the description below. We had to travel up north last weekend and come back, and we visited some breweries and great themes. Undersea, Nordic, some neat places that are multifunctional. They're very family friendly, geek friendly. We learned that there's a sport of ice bocce ball, which is kind of fun. Consider in the winter time. So the particular brewery we were by was on the lake. But yeah, it's kind of an interesting way to plan a weekend or a day trip if you go around from brewery to brewery and drink responsibly, or be like us and have me as your designated driver. But yeah, check them out. They are Under Pressure is family friendly, pet friendly because there's no food served, so you can bring pets in. We were talking to one of the brewery owners, and the way it apparently works is if you're going to be allow pets, you have to have two separate entrances, one for people with pets and one for people without pets, or some foolishness. It depends upon the rules and regulations in your area. So please consult. And in the Hop Passport, the neat thing, it tells you how pet friendly they are. If they're full pet friendly, partial pet friendly, and things of that nature. Something to consider. The one we have is primarily for Minnesota, but they have it for South Dakota, North Dakota, and Iowa. There may be other ones available for other states. Check in your local environment. Speaking of that, thoughts and prayers are with the people out in California with the wildfires. Hopefully they can recuperate and get back to normal in time to heal, which is the biggest part of the whole psychological thing with that as well. So consider going out to Red Cross /NFL, Red Cross / several other organizations will give you direct options to contribute. I would be careful of some of the fake sites that are out there, but if you start at the Red Cross, I think it's redcross/NFL.com, or redcross.com/NFL, redcross.com/ESPN, and others like that. So please consider them and donate. Check out my Christmas thing. I love showing this off. It's my phone charger. Every gamer, particularly those that play WoW, need one. And of course, we appreciate checking out my books at sellersgr.com, my overall website, geekfengshui.com, this channel, which I appreciate if you like, subscribe, setting on the bell. Of course, commentary, as long as you keep it in the rails. I have to respond to one comment that was kind of how the trolls came to be, in that there we go. They came for the girl in the thumbnail and were disappointed, but apparently they don't look at the turn this light on, screensaver on the TV that apparently isn't doing its job. Anyway, yeah, if you come into a thumbnail and click on it without looking at the title, in the thumbnails, all of my thumbnails, I can completely upfront tell you it's World of Warcraft. Same thing with the description. So if you come in following a thumbnail, it's your own dang fault. Sorry to be that way, but I am and I will. But yeah, we do appreciate the likes, subscriptions, and setting of the bell and commentary. Particularly the likes. If you like a video on YouTube, please like it to show the creator that their efforts are worthwhile. So this has been a week. I plan to do a couple of videos. We have some elderly friends that required some visits or pickups from visits to the ER late at night the last beginning of the week, and I wasn't feeling so hot. It was just a crazy week. And now we have a little bit of snow coming down. Schedules have changed, so I got to keep track of the 2 dogs we have. So I'm not all alone. I am playing my Alliance Warlock. She is, guess what? A descriptionist and an herbalist. And so I'm going through, and one advantage on a server where you have 85s is, in benediction in particular, in my case, is that I can go through and pick herbs for them. So that she's well ahead of the curve, but she's catching up on her herbing. 50, I think I can start making more inscriptions. Also, if you want to make some good money, depending upon your server, that is an option to consider. I found the inscription market to be quite lucrative where there's a population. That being said, not all servers have an active population. Now I have Benediction as my main server, but I tried another server and one half is busy, the other half is not. So there are things to consider. Berlina has a quiet alliance but an active horde. This server Benediction is active on both sides. I've made plenty of gold. And I even had a sword drop. It got me kicked out of a run, but it sold for 1,500 gold. I had another one that was a purple sword. It dropped. And we all needed it, so nobody complained. I won it. And on our server here, it's listed at 15,000. I listed mine for 10,000 gold. I doubt it will sell because most people are, it's just one of those things everybody likes to have a purple. Turn the volume up on stuff so you can hear a little better. Music I have turned down because people have complained that they can't hear me when the music's playing. So Marcella is an affliction 1 spec and destruction the opposite spec. So I've been playing with both. Affliction I've probably got the most experience with because supposedly affliction is highest burst DPS, I guess I would say. I don't know if that's true or not. I did dip my toes back into retail just to check it out to see if it was still as weird when I went back. I discovered when I took my break from WoW was for 5 years because I went and looked at characters that hadn't been on for, one hadn't been on for 6 years, but most of them have been 5 years. So I did have a good break from WoW. I do not own the War Within. I don't know if I ever will. I don't need it. But I did get a two level 60s when I bought the latest one before that. So I used 2 boosts. And to answer questions people always wonder, it does not boost your professions. I started with the new dragon characters to see how that was. And dragon characters on the starting area, you have to stay in there until you're out of it. I wasn't overly impressed. It was a takeoff of other ones that you have 2 forms. it's like you already have a character that can fly of sword swoop, and I don't know, it's just not for me. But I did start a monk level 1 and then boosted her up, and the world has changed so much when they went after mop and everything else that it's almost a foreign game. Graphics is much better, don't get me wrong. I plan to do some more Xbox games, so get that organized. My daughter's enjoying playing Hitman on it right now on the Xbox. She says it's not any difference. She claims it's a lot easier to play the game with a controller versus on the PC. I kind of already knew that with several of the games that I play. Only problem is if you get used to the keyboard and then come back to the controller, it can be disconcerting. Yeah, I did have to laugh when I saw the comment. I didn't post the comment because that's what started the troll storm. I don't know if that person knew that or not, but there is one graphic I have, and I equate it, I guess, to the most unlikeliest of lure for a thumbnail. When we used to fish on Lake Superior, we use a lot of lures, and there was one that I'll never forget. It was the Budweiser lure. That was a little shaped in the shape of a bottle with a Budweiser logo on it. And that lure was guaranteed to catch fish above any of the other lures that we use. And my dad had a big collection of lures. But if we were having problems, all we had to do was put that lure on and boom, we got fish. So we will. So anyway, this touched on in other videos. I have graphics that I purchased the rights to use for my books. And so when I started making thumbnails, I decided to use them in my thumbnails. And I have some fantasy characters. They're not erotic necessarily, but there's some that but this one is just a thin blonde girl with a robe that's open. She's not very endowed, as it were, to reveal anything. And she's standing there, and probably looks like the Budweiser lure, at least one I expected to draw attention. Boy, she's the one that started the troll storm because a lot of people, for whatever reason, were offended that she was not in the video. But again, if you're going into videos and not looking before you leap, that's on you. I had the term clickbait thrown at me. And it's like YouTube is all about clickbait, but there's two types. The kind that I use, which is good, it clearly represents what it is. A lot of people just take screenshots out of their videos. Even then, some of those can be misleading. But yeah, if you have a thumbnail for plumbing and it brings you into something for healthcare products that is a little different than what you were expecting, that is the bad clickbait. I think what to do here. I must not have that quest yet. There's a quest where I have to kill off those fire guys. It took me a long time to figure that out. So you look for spiders. This guy, Wonk, rides the spiders. But anyway, when I first started doing it, I would make a thumbnail for each character, tailored to that character. Because I have a lot of model pics that I've used to represent, because I'm a visual writer, meaning in order to make a proper description of a character, some people, and I start doing that, will keep a diary of what a character looks like. So when you have to describe them to the reader, it's easier to be consistent. I learned that from a couple of places. The gal who wrote Harry Potter had a fan that put together a Bible, as they call it that, of all the character details, and she appreciated it because she had never bothered to do that. And the other one was Game of Thrones, because they asked the author if he starts seeing the characters as those that appear in the TV show. He said no, he lived with those characters for 30 years and knew what they looked like, and they didn't look like anything like the people in the TV show. People forget that, is that just because you have a particular actor or actress portraying a character from a story, that is not necessarily what the author envisioned for them. In some cases, they have a female character. There's a Mrs. Watson detective show. Nothing against that, don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining. But they have a female Dr. Watson. They did that in a Holmes show. And I'm not wearing my glasses because with my sinuses, it's been a weird week. I may go do one of the characters, the one I just created, create a monk healer. So it's a different style of healing. Wind Walker, I think, I can't remember what it's called. But yeah, they change things so much around that it's what finally killed off my desire to play that, and like had issues with the guild I was in where they, I've touched on that story, is when you get into raiding, raiders are different people because they have to be. Raiding is not something you can do willy-nilly and be any good at it. There's a lot of raiding guilds that are almost like second and or third jobs. You have to be at a certain time at a certain place, or you're done, or you don't get gear. And they have silly rules. Some of these rules you run into in 5-mans. Where you think, well, this should go to this particular class or my group. I said, no, that's not how it works in the 5-mans. If you can use it and you can lead on it, which you can. Later variations of the game, and I don't know when they did it, but in the 5-mans you can only need on something that you could actually use. So for example, this character couldn't need on plate or mail or leather or swords or two-handed axes because she couldn't use them. Clean out my inventory just in case we go to an instance. Again, another advantage of having bought the token and buying this mount. I first ran into that mount and I was reminded that when I was looking for mounts to have in retail. I have the Headless Horseman's mount. It was in Halloween. It was a rare drop. It took me a couple of years or a couple of Halloweens to get that. And I'm not knocking retail. It's just as you progress with the game, it just got discouraging because entire areas that you enjoy playing in became dead zones. And I mean, now it doesn't bother me because I run into this where I'm the only one here. Occasionally I'll see somebody else. Rarely do I see the other faction. Even when I'm on Horde, I hardly see Alliance. There's commentary that there's servers that are dying because there's only one faction, and that's fine and dandy unless you're PvP. And in retail, they do not have open world PvP. You can flag yourself, but you don't have to worry about getting ganked. It's just too many people are upset they started on for example, I once started a character on Laughing Skull, which was the first server I played on that was 98% Horde and far few Alliance. It was during the height of people getting into the game. So there's a island area that was level 70 at the time, was a top end area, Isle of Quinay, which we call the Isle of Gank, because you had to do so many quests each day across both factions could attribute to it that opened up parts of the island. Problem is, on a Horde heavy server, guess what? All the people you run into on the island were Horde, your Alliance. So when we flew in, it was like flying into a Republican convention, pun intended, because everything was red. And the Horde took full advantage of that. They parked themselves in gang. It's no different than here in this variation of Hellfire, where people know that people come in at 58, can't fly, easy pickings. Or if you go to Hydrol and other areas where you have congested questing on a PvP open world server, it gets ugly quick. Now that being said, it doesn't always mean you attack the other faction on site. There were plenty of times that I quested with other factions. You can't communicate unless you're friends, Battle.net friends. Um, and it would work until there was a mistake. And then the problem was you don't know if the mistake was a mistake or just done on purpose. And then, yeah, it worked for a while until it didn't. And I've rescued other factions that were killed by a monster that come up, and then you also have to make sure you don't do AoE, because then you start hurting them, which is unintentional. I'll give an example on one of my other characters. It was in, I don't know if it was Burning Steps or Syrian Gorge. I was in one of the Alliance camps, a small camp that a horde backed into. I don't know, it wasn't a shared camp. The guards went after him too. And I don't know what he was doing, so I got my first HK. Because it was, I don't know if he landed there, was distracted. I figured he'd take off, and he didn't. By the time he did, it was too late. Got in the wall, weakened up, and got my HK. I got out of there because I knew that something like that happens. You don't want to stick around. But, watching a lot of different videos on different games, and so folks I met at Cata are trying to get me to get into Path of Exiles. I haven't taken the big leap yet. So when I do this, now that I know, I will get rid of big beast guy and go with the imp, because in a 5-man you don't want to have your tank pet. One advantage if you're an engineer is you can have a portable mailbox. And I have to get back to playing Classic. I do have a hardcore character, but this game is designed to be too easy to kill your characters. I'm not, it is what it is. Now, when you do this, if you ding up, leave queue and request. I got to look and see whose skills regularly. That's one thing I can almost break out my D&D dice to roll which character I want to play. Tonight I am drinking Stella Artois 0.0. No alcohol. And all the great taste. On the 0.0 market, particularly since COVID, has really blown up because people want to have the taste of beer. And there has been non-alcoholic variations of beer for a long time. The only problem is that they weren't that good. O'Doul's is a good placeholder if you have to have a beer and no alcohol. The problem is there is alcohol in it, 0.005% or something like that. So you are drinking an alcoholic beverage. With the 0.0s, there's absolutely no. I mean, so you have to be 21 to buy it or have a membership to a club. So, for example, we have a membership to Costco. Costco sells 0.0 beer in the store. And liquor stores will tell you that you can buy it, you just can't serve it to minors, they would hope, unless you are off their property because they can get in trouble. Because theoretically, and I'm not recommending this to anybody, is you could give beer to a young person who isn't of drinking age, and it wouldn't be as bad as it might be otherwise because there's no alcohol. I mean, to be fair, growing up, my dad would give us taste of beer when we were 8, 9, 10. I mean, not a lot. Some families do, some families don't. But over in Europe, juveniles can drink wine. I was watching a documentary on Lockerbie over in Scotland, and they talked about that, where you had kids from a college that were studying over there, and they were enjoying going out to the bars because they could drink in Scotland, but they couldn't in the U.S. It's like military people are old enough to serve their country and give their lives for the country, but they can't drink unless they're on base. Which I always thought was kind of. There's always going to be somebody that's going to abuse it. That's the problem we run into. I think at 50, I get the next level of inscription. So what I can do, I can go gather the herbs necessary from places that this character might not be able to get to yet, which I've done already. And then I turn around and sell them a reasonable price because the market can get kind of screwed. There's some that people are selling for 200-300 golds. The most I try to sell mine for is 25 to 50 at the highest. A couple of them, if it's really hot, if everybody else is selling them for 400 or 500, I'll go maybe 100 gold. Doesn't mean they sell. But usually I do 10 to 15. I mean, if it's less than that, I'll go 2.5 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 20 to 25. I try to be consistent as best I can. Anything I learned about some of these crazy areas. And I think there's some automated auction house monitoring because I put glyphs up for sale and they bought right away, back to back. Now in retail, I went and looked, and you can still have to make them, but I didn't see on my characters where I can put them. So I have to investigate that. I've heard they kind of curtail the glyphs. There is some holy water that you need to get out of this chest. Not all of them have it in there. They have these little spider guys. I think this character will turn somebody against everybody else. Or tank. I've seen it where they've killed off characters in the party. See, right now I'm charmed. We have got a dusting of snow, and that's about it. Snow for us went south. Hearts go to the folks down there that are not used to snow. They were joking about 5 or 10 years ago. There's a big snowstorm. They don't have sand trucks or plows, so they had a bunch of sand loaded into a pickup truck, a bunch of guys with shovels, and that's how they were distributing sand on the road. And we're used to it here, of sorts. I'm not saying that we're necessarily better at it, but we're more prone to have had experience on it than a lot of places are down south. The term snow tires is not something. Yeah, the true exemplar of how an unbalanced server can be is Faralina, because I can sell all kinds of stuff on the Horde side. Alliance side, similar things in the auction house, even the low prices are crickets. We have switched internet providers. We went up from 300 meg, which met most of our needs, to a gigabyte for less money. I think as we're streaming and I'm playing, I'm finding that I don't see, while I was starting to see a lot of lag if they're watching movies upstairs, and we do have a mesh router. But we're back on Charter. Nothing against Spectrum. It's just we were with Spectrum since back when they were Bresnan. The joke back home it was called Bresnot. I think the gentleman last name was Bresnan started, which became Spectrum. Only problem we ever had was we had cable and internet through them, and we gave up internet. They deleted our email accounts without giving us a chance to clean them out, just going warning they would not restore them. Which at the time was, I tried to tell my wife and daughters that we need. At that time, I'd started to shift over to Gmail, but there's some old emails I would love to have kept. Kind of like a sour taste. We were so old on Charter. If you know anybody with a Charter email account, we were Charter NY because that's what they were out of Michigan. originally. That was their excuse they used, that they couldn't restore because it was on such old servers. But I have a brother-in-law works at Spectrum. There's the holy water. We got all, the last ones are here. Yeah, now it's going back to the thumbnail story. So I had thumbnails for each of my characters. So I'd go through and pick them, and I'd have them labeled. I'd have a blank, and I could either put one type of the class or another. So I had one that was for a particular Death Knight or whatnot. It was a lot of work. One of the big arguments, and I was kind of offended by the trolls. And they said, somebody said, you like the art? Well, there's no artwork to that. And I said, yeah, it's because you don't do it. But what YouTube did to help businesses primarily, I'm sure everybody else and myself included, is now you can create, when you do upload a video, you can pick up to 3 thumbnails, and there are random picks between them as to which one they show to potential viewers. And after an end of a certain time, they'll use whatever one's clicked on the most to represent the video. So of course, me being lawful evil, I took that model that I was talking about earlier, my lure, and put her in the mix with it. So she invariably is, she was a priest originally for one character, Gesundheit. No, I didn't sneeze, that was the name of my character. And so now you'll see her as a Death Knight or Druid, just because I have an evil side to myself. And I said, if they're gonna, apparently he wasn't ready for the, we're getting close. I think we have 2 left. We have this group, and then we have the main boss down below. First character in a long time that I have that doesn't do relics. One thing to remember when you go back is to switch your minion, otherwise you might find yourself fighting something you really wished you had that tank. Warlocks do not make good tanks. Squishy. So now we got to go down here. We go kill things down below until boss shows up. It'll be a while to figure that out. Oops. Yeah, I'm drinking non-alcoholic beer, so I can't blame this on the beer for my driving. I'm going to try to get back to at least 3 videos a week of WoW, and then perhaps a few others of the Xbox games. I tried Path of Exiles. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Diablo 4, which I already own. So I mean, there is that to consider. It's like when I used to play Star Wars: The Old Republic and come back and play WoW, and they're just too close similarities. I like Star Wars: The Old Republic. It was one of those funny MMOs that was supposed to be, as many try to paint themselves, the WoW killer. And at the time, I worked at Geek part-time, and a lot of the gamer friends I had in the area here locally jumped on it right away, and I was kind of hesitant because I was into WoW heavily. I hate to use a comparison, but it's like you're used to one drug and another drug comes along. And I got to playing it and enjoyed it as much as I did, if not more than WoW. But all of the friends of mine that were playing were one and done. There he is. Yeah, Star Wars: The Old Republic tried to avoid the chaos that WoW had when it started, and they had too many servers, which was good because they didn't have the failures that Blizzard did when they first launched WoW. Those that don't know, when WoW launched, the first 6 months, it was just awful because they were not expecting the turnout that they had for it. They woefully underestimated it. Servers crashing. I didn't start playing WoW until about 6 months after it came out because I was playing Diablo 2 and was reluctant. I came in and I never went back. But friends of mine that I knew in real life were playing. You pick a server, so we picked Laughing Skull, which was an open world PvP server. Heavy, heavy horde. Not necessarily, it was, I say 99.5, it was probably 90-10, somewhere in there. There's other servers that were 98% horde. They, of course, Illidan is an example of that. I believe it was Illidan. Maybe Illidan was the other way around. People I worked with at where I work now at the time that were playing were on Illidan. That gets into the infamous forum fun I had, where Blizzard has forums. See, the destruction is kind of fun. I must get that. Where I ran into it, naively so, was there's forums for each server, and they're moderated by Blizzard. Point whereas you can post things that you shouldn't post. I mean, it's crazy Wild West days. Well, anyway, one day when all started, again, I have a Gesundheit character, and I gone into a battleground, and it was just frustrating as heck because nobody was following the group, and you lost bitterly. It was like, try to tell them to do something simple. And I vented a little bit. I wrote a nice, I didn't swear, didn't do anything. I just kind of griped about it. Well, with these yokels, I'll use that term for them, what I didn't know was they like to hijack posts. And they were good at it. So what I mean by that is you have a post on, say, Arathi Highlands, and they turn it into something else completely, either WoW related or unreal. It was a game to them in and of itself. And they got to be annoying. And they've been doing it for a long time. And there was a guy played a character named Triv. Now, bear in mind, it's a popular name. I'd never heard it until I ran into him. So don't assume if you know somebody that plays a character named Triv, it's the same person. But anyway, he was kind of having life issues, and hopefully he grew out of. I think I'm going to go turn this quest because I think I have to come back over here anyway. At any rate, you know, it's the old saying, if you give someone enough rope, they'll hang themselves. Now, there's rules that terms of conduct, code of conduct, whatever, COC, that you have to agree to. It's a little checkbox if you're going to post in the forums. The code of conduct lists the types of things you don't do. Specifically, well, if there's 10 examples, they were doing 9 of them. I got tired of it, so I would report a post and say, please review under code of conduct, paragraph this, section that. But it's up to you, and I appreciate your good work. Well, they started getting their posts deleted, which infuriated them because how dare you touch their posts. And somehow they figured out it was me. To this day, I think they had a friend that worked at Blizzard, but I can't prove it other than. And the Gesundheit character came. Problem for them. Well, the other problem would be is that they'd get banned temporarily. You get a 2-hour ban, so you couldn't post, and this is outside of the game. So the forum bans didn't affect your playing, nor did if you got banned playing the game. I don't think it affected your, because you had to log in. So I don't know if you get banned in game if it blocks you from posting. Like I said, they did it to themselves. Anyway, I got banned for 48 hours for reporting too many posts, believe it or not, because they found out they had to end up having moderator signed just to the Laughing Skull forum. So then there's Illidan, which took the giant step of creating their own forums off of Blizzard stuff. So Blizzard had no control whatsoever over it. Called Illidrama. I don't know if it still exists to this day or not. But anyway, these clowns kept pushing the envelope till they got banned permanently from the forums. And what we didn't know, I didn't know, and I do to this day feel kind of bad, is he was having issues that he was using the forums, good, bad, or indifferent, to help log his days that he was having bad ones. I mean, it was his outlet. He needed to have something outside the game, but that was the way he was. Apparently, he had years of posts that when you're banned, they delete them all. And that was probably what ticked him off most about everything. But anyway, I always figured I'd run across him. I mean, I did run across him, but you got to remember, I play 65 characters. So unless you have the name and the character, like there's some of the people that play in the whatchamacallit hardcore deal that have variations of their name on every character. They get mad when somebody takes up one of the variations or tries to be one of them. I don't do. I pick names for different. I've used, and which is kind of funny in and of itself. I use virus family names. One of my pet hobbies of study, for want of a better term, is Ebola. Ebola has several variations. Primarily, for those that don't know about Ebola, it's a bloodborne pathogen. That Ebola Zaire is the worst one. I call it the Three Sisters and the Ugly Cousin. If you get, or unlucky enough to get Ebola Zaire, you have a 98% chance of dying. It's just that straightforward. People have called Ebola God's reset button because fortunately it's not airborne yet. Because they said if it ever became airborne, life as we know it on this planet would cease to exist, much like the movies you see 28 days later. Now, yeah, that's kind of what would happen with Ebola. Anyway, there's other bacterial ones, Black Plague. And I was fortunate enough, I work at a medical institution. And at the time, they have what they call health information management conventions. I think they still do. Our hospital doesn't send anybody they know of to them because at the time they had the money. This time around, 20 years later, they're not going to be spending money for IT people to go. They'd send a couple of us to them. And one of them was Atlanta, and it was about the time that they had the breakout. Not breakout, but people started putting anthrax and stuff. So they had labs out there, and some of these side tours, one of them was the CDC labs. Because if you don't know, the Center for Disease Control is in Atlanta. Well, anyway, they were sold out months in advance. And when the anthrax came out, they closed down the labs because obviously it was a national emergency, and a lot of people dropped out. So I got to go tour the CDC for what was left open. And they have a gift shop. And I ate in their cafeteria, which I say to this day is probably the most dangerous cafeteria in the world, given what they put out there. But anyway, they have a gift shop, and you could go into this gift shop. It's a very small corner-in-the-wall gift shop. But they had, at the time, they had silk ties. I have a tie that had the Ebola virus blown up, and you could get them Black Plague, and of course anthrax was sold out because it was hot in the news. And the funniest thing is that there was a couple in front of me, middle-aged, were laughing. I said, I just have to ask, what's so funny? They had a college-level son who they bought silk boxers with syphilis on it. And to this day, I laugh at that. Someday, if a girl's with him and he has his underwear and picks up what's it, oh, that's syphilis. What? But yeah. But where I worked at, the doctors that were involved with infectious diseases, their offices were above where my office was. And I'd ride the shuttle with them, so I'd give them a pop quiz and I'd say, what's on my tie? But yeah, no, it's an interesting, CDC has a museum where you can go through and see some of the interesting things that they have dealt with over the years. This is the area of the dungeons, Blackrock Depths. I learned to hate that particular dungeon A because people don't. It's one of the confusing ones where you go and there's like 3 different levels to it. They finally put a shortcut in. Oh, that's right, we got first flask. Took me a long time to figure that out when I was first doing this, that you have to F5, so it's easier to get to. Once you take a sample and that, it knocks them down to so I'd go kill these all over, if not figure out, right, oh, I gotta do it while they're still alive. I just saw I killed one of these already that wonder why I'm not doing the random ones, because I want the specific dungeons. Otherwise, you do the same dungeons all over. And unfortunately, get to a level that Blackrock Depths is like that. I think from 50 to 54, that's the only dungeon you go in, and some people don't realize it's one or the other. And there's other quests people will go off and do. Don't get me wrong, it's good XP, but if you're there to do the particular dungeon and want to just do it quick, you have to do it. Not used to having competition. Yeah, I guess I can fill. I was thinking I couldn't fill it from him, but I can. And another player has gone through and cleaned out all of the engineer guys. Maybe I'll leave Q and I'll do a random. At least I wish Mike would fight for you. These I'll have to send to a rogue. This is the starter one. So this is the first boss, which is the quest that most people on my level for the next few come onto, because you don't get the next one until, and there's a shortcut. Like I said, it's nothing against doing the rest of the dungeon. It's good XP, but as an example of a tank that didn't want to. And I'll do another instance just to get to 50. It's DPS, I'm learning it's more refreshing just to be able to do a slow. Well, if you're a tank or a healer, you have faster queues and you do level faster, but you see the same dungeons over and over and over again. I'm done here. I'll go over and give a preview of my healer monk. One of the interesting things in retail that they did, which to be honest I'd forgotten about, is they paired or grouped servers together. So you can have guildies and trade with people with a different server as long as they're within your group. So what ended up happening is I had characters that are on one server and characters on another, and it didn't dawn into me. I was looking at the guild, my old guild that I had set up. Look out, spyglass, come on. This is where it gets annoying if you have somebody else cleaning up. I mean, it's good that they have the randoms crossover, because seriously, if you were only getting people off your server, it might take forever to get it. And for those that are not aware from my earlier videos, benediction, the reason I'm on benedictions, I had the most problems with benediction players. Oh, I still have. I finished those. Not. I forget what profession uses those, if it's blacksmithing or engineering, but yeah, you come down here and farm elementals. And that was a thing that was fun, is you'd find a hot spot for farming leather, or other things, and then I think we'll just go in and do the once I hit 50, I'll just head out of the dungeon and go back to town. Already done this. Let's see, Malwin is the tank. There we go. I'm going to give them time to find a replacement and we can get the quests. I have a paladin that's 51. So it's one of the reasons I like having multiple characters is you get to some of these dungeons, Blackrock Depths, is a pain because if you're there to do it, so now what I can do is go up and load up on my, then I'm going to mail off lock boxes. I should have done that. I'll grab all of them. So into my room. I'm stashing them in here, and I don't know why I'm still sending them. It didn't occur to me until I got these other lock boxes. And these are boxes that you would be training up on your lockpicking if you still have to do that. So thankfully you don't. And going to the old spreadsheet. Epoxy. That wasn't their original name, but I came over. That's a name. There's that. Got a bunch over from the other server that were not. As an example, white name was not selling whatsoever. If I can't find any already made, I'll go make it myself. What I do is I grab a handful, I'll go put them in the auction house. It makes some easy money. If you sell them for 25 gold, it's a good amount. Guardian incineration. Oh. Oops. A lot of the ones that I named at the too high a level. I might have them. I didn't know what I think about ones I want. So I created screenshots of the icy veins is what I use. They suggest life, corruption, haunt, unstable affliction. And they suggest soulstone, shadow bolt, or life tap. There's different glyphs for the destruction, but I'll take care of that another time so you can see the advantage there. Having made a bunch of them and storing them. Soul Burn allows you to cast very quickly. It's useful for your minions so you don't have to spend a lot of time. Don't think I have. Let's move it on train. Yeah, I have duplicates of all from all my characters that make them. So it'll take 4, 5, 6 and go out to auction house to see what they're selling for and cut in half or more in some cases. If some of the glyphs sell for 300 or 400 gold, I'll sell 25 or 50. If I get 50 gold, that's 50 gold. 60 is when you can fly. 58, you go to Outland. And you're ground pounding for 2 levels, which makes you open for ganking. So as much as I hate Blackrock depths, now that I've gotten that initial questing out of the way, we'll get Seed of Corruption. Oh, I don't get that to 72. So now what I'll do is I'll go mail the fabric to my cloth maker, which I forgot what was. Hypoxia. I watch a lot of crime TV, so or YouTube. So if I know what hypoxia is, go look it up. Oh, it's probably like in meant to do when I was in Monster Scribe, so I can go level up some. I don't think I can level up herbalism yet, but you know, look at what I can do. Hippocratia. Named after Hippocrates. Hippocrates. A variation spelling it. So that stuff clears up my look at the bank. So now I can create shimmering ink. One of the interesting things, if you can do a glyph, it jumps by 3 or 4. So if I don't have ethereal ink on one of my other max levels, I can make it. I believe I have my ethereal ink here. Yep. So what I'll do is I'll go make a bunch of what my inscription to show you what I'm talking about. Again, the advantage is I have druids and other characters and other warlock for that matter. You can go gather herbs that I need in areas that this one would not be able to survive in. One might ask, well, then why do herb gathering? Well, XP went up by 3. I try to do before you say, well, it's cheating. It's not cheating because I am using that which is available to me. It's only the first character that has to go to the tough areas to get those weeds, as I refer to them. So you can see how this is jumping multiple. I think other professions might do that now. I don't know. This is the only one for certain that I do know does that. It's only on the ones that are gold, I think. Yes. At one point on one of the other ones, I only had That was a major one I had to make several of to get through. Or Dark Moon cards. Some of you might find this boring, but trying to give an education on how you can make, because you might think, well, it's only 25 gold, but you sell 10 of these different ones. You have to have people that want to buy them. So if you find some that are selling for 300 or 400, you sell them for 25, 50, or even 50 to 100, and you can get that for them. Try to avoid duplicates. What? So the Grandmaster now is until 65. You get to a point where you run out of gold ones. And this is where it's handy to have that mount. If you're out in the field trying to do this, because it carries. Eventually you get down so you can only make the scrolls which require those are ink of the sea. That's the ink you get on shore, or the herbs you get from Outland, particular Sholazar Basin, because you will get description research, which we'll do here. I'll go show you what I do in the auction house. It's because less and less likely you need to buy a token for whatever, even on the servers. Like when I started over on Faralina, started doing this, and I built up quite a bit of gold. You can do this for mining on Whiteman. I did it with mining. So I will come in here and check this. That one. So ice trap is cheap. So we'll do 250. Same with Hellstone. Now there are add-ons you can get that will help you manage your auction house. This uses 10. So if you look at people undercutting themselves, they do it by just like 2 silver. So incinerate is 66, so I can do 25. I'll do 25 to 50. Sometimes I'll do 20 to 25. And for lacerates, I'll do 10 to 15. Sometimes you can see the same people that are, like this is just to be funny when you look how they're cutting by silver. And you have me come along. Do it by gold. Oops. So it's 10 to 11. Might seem petty to put in these for, if you sell enough of them, it does help those that can't afford it otherwise. Oh, oops. So arcane powers, 255. I grabbed the wrong one. Word of glory, that's 88. So we'll do 25 to 50. If the auctions don't go through, then I will work down. Ambush. Roebuck. And you get to recognize some of the characters. That's why having a bunch of transcriptionist can help you on your own characters. Way back on Whitebane, I had a person finally try to hire me to do mining for a fixed rate. What they were basically trying to do is keep me out of the auction house, because over there, the Horde were bringing over their minerals and selling them on the Alliance for uber gold. And I dragged the price down. It was kind of fun. Again, there's add-ons that you can get to do that. So people have it on their phones. See how they're, if you're going to undercut somebody, I will buy stuff for silver more just to get it from the person that was undercut. And there is that. This is the dazzling sword. I don't know if there's anybody is. So you can see his list doesn't mean I'll get that much for it, but I'll lower down to 7,500. In fact, I might do that. And there you go. Let's see where we're going to next here. Learning steps. That's a trip in and of itself. We won't do that in this video. I'll do that next on the Grand Tour. But what I will do, just to give you an idea what it looks like with a boosted character in retail. I will go fire up retail here. And I've only done one add-on, is HealBot, because that's what I use for my healers. Again, CurseForge is a great place you can get the application, so when you fire up CurseForge, you'll see when they need to be updated. And I don't know if it was our internet when we were streaming and my wife and daughter like to watch movies, or my wife would be watching movie, daughter's doing computer or Xbox, and I'm doing these games. there was some weird slowness. There's an update. They did an update today. I'm not exactly sure what they did. They've been doing update. They had the servers down this morning, Friday, all days. It was normally it's Friday the day I'm making this. It'll be posted on Friday, but they only usually do that on Tuesdays. Unless there's a problem, they must have found a problem. You know, when I was playing retail and keeping up with the Cardassians, as we referred to the expansions, I would have been jumping into war with them with all my characters, but I'm not doing that now. Finish this updating. The this I'll show off my phone so you can go to that. It's a lot of fun. Put my phone on there and charge it. There's a little piece of I have it inserted in on the bottom right corner. You can take that little piece out, and that's where your phone rests. And then run the cable up from underneath. It's 10 degrees outside. We have a dusting of snow. Okay, so it's ready to go. Reclaiming space. It is nice now that they have it. So before I would hit up Blizzard to say, can I get access to my WoW 2 account for 24 hours ago invite? Well, now you can do a self-invite. List your guild. Azamari is the monk I created. So what they do here is they show you all your characters, but if you want to do some of them, if you haven't logged in, they'll have upgrades, but they show the server. So you can see all your characters, even if you're not on that server. So this is the monk. Healer. I haven't done anything other than set her up. One of the interesting things is you automatically get a reagent bag, which means you don't really need an herb bag or a mining bag necessarily. Oh, anyway, but so I find on certain characters it's good to have for organization. So I started this character level 1 and then I boosted it to level 60. On the War Within, you get a boost to level 70, which was the big draw of buying it back in the day. Not obviously War Within, but any of the expansions automatically came with a boost. Some of them too. So you can see the layout's a little different. Instead of having the bars across the bottom, you have them clumped together, which takes a while to get used to. I haven't got professions on the skill yet. So 30 cloth bag, then you have a 32 slot reagent. bag, which I have to go figure out.
I can't attack that target. I can't attack that. I can't attack that target.
There we go. So they call it Warband Connect Collections. So in this case, I'm going to filter ground and flying. The Headless Horseman is both a ground and a flying. So if we want to I think it was the Grand Expedition. This one comes with a little higher grade
Many deals for a friend of the Grummles. Like you.
traders.
Farewell, friend of the Grummles.
And it was expensive when I was way back before tokens, so it took a long time. And so now that I have the Headless Horseman as my blind, I can have some fun. So I have ride-along mounts as well. Death Wheel was fun. Motorcycle. And you could carry someone, if I remember right on that. You could jump on. To give you an idea of what Ogremar looks like anyway. Too much has changed, except there's portals where you click on before, it would take you, you can take a portal directly to Undercity. Orion does not have a portal, but you still click on, it'll take you there. If you look at the map, you have a whole bunch. End area, you have Northrend, you have an old and new Dalaran. I can't remember where they are. The difference, there's a distinct difference between them. It has to do with underneath Dalaran is hostile. And the first time he went down there, he didn't realize that he could get killed. Like right now, there's campaigns. When you boost, you automatically get all the flying. There's anything. There's the board still over here. Danon Jungle, Gnomi's Call. Places you haven't been yet. Now to show you an example of, we're talking about heirlooms. These were all the heirlooms that I have. Void is a trinket. just all over. So you can see a little bit more. They have builders. Because they made it neat on here when you go into them, you can specify a character, and they're only, these are at this point are only good up to 40 pool. Because it was back, I had characters that I think at one point went to like 90 or 95, and they cut it in half down to 45 or 50 and 60, and now it's up back up to 70. I think they were trying to avoid triple digits. So look. I don't know if you where your glyphs go. Let's go Google that real quick. You might not have glyphs in retail. Okay, the glyphs modify your spell book. Now, so when you have your spell book, when you get a glyph, it'll tell you which one it enhances. So it's a little different. You don't see it in the collection like you do current one. So I'm assuming once you apply one, we can go look at one. It's a little bit different.
Yeah, what do you want?
There might not be any for luck. We'll see. So they show you what the price of the current buyout and how many, so they make it so you're not seeing a huge list. I only have 10 minutes, I'm not going to buy anything. When you go to create them,
I got mouths to feed, pal.
well, here I'll show you. It's a little different because I've already ran into this in a couple of characters. And I do have a guild over here called the Mort Les Impots. It's in French. So you basically go to the same places, but now your inscriptions require level 5. Yeah, Cataclysm. So they've changed how it works. Right off the bat, you can make. So if I go into inscription, so this was they just do it. It's still there. It's still usable. It's just different. Yeah, we'll do a video of going out and herb gathering. Because at one point, and I don't remember what it was, if you had professions and you boosted, it boosted your professions as well. Not so much in production.
Farewell.
And you can do what that journal is for. You come up and there's ways you can change the UI as well. So find herbs has changed. There's found. So we will go. Oops. No. This is not the most recent. This is this up till War Within. I don't have War Within. I won't get it. I probably could have got it over Christmas time with the sale. But the reason I have this one, at the time I bought it was on sale and it had a game time, so I bought it for both my WoW 2 and my WoW account. Not have auto mute on. Do not. It's a little different. There's add-ons you can get. I had to change the UI. The only thing I have against UI add-on that makers, and when they break, you're so used to that AI or UI user interface, for those that don't know what that means, that you are like. So I try to stay with the standard out of the box UI, just as painful as it might be. Be curious. So yeah, this, I don't need an herb bag, just putting it in there. So we do filter. Well, they do have milling here. It's cataclysm milling. So you must not. There we go, classic. Normally I put that on my toolbox, but apparently you can't. Yeah, so you don't need to buy the, you automatically get this with each character you create. Oh, I forgot to get forgot to get the inking set. See, this is what happens. We'll do that so I can just show you, hopefully. Way back when I did a tour of some of the areas, and the cataclysm maps of the old world and this are pretty much in sync. We'll have West, which is nice, cluttered up stuff. But they do not have open world PvP servers, which They're normal unless you can do slash B to inflate yourself. I've seen people do it back when retail was dumb.
What can I do for you?
So that didn't go into where that was.
Go with
So let's see. Big button, Bob. So you don't have, you can just do scrolls. I'd be curious to see it. I think you have to level up to go pick those. I won't do that right now, but I'm going to go explore that. They may have made it. You don't have to go back and do that. Take another quick tour here. On the Horde side, when you fly out, this has pretty much stayed the same. It's still flooded. Don't know if the new characters start in the two different places or if they're redesigning it again. Yeah, I am leveling, so I bet you have to do the same leveling that you did in the old world. I doubt I can go to Cataclysm and start picking. Flight mounts. I mean, the graphics are a lot. They've redone a lot of the graphics, so things do look cooler. This is a little different. Forge, if you're used to that, is no longer. It's just a bit different. Still have everybody there. Just they have a clock tower in there now. Yeah, so the trolls still start out there in Echo Island. Crossroads, but this is kind of a tour. The coloring is better, in my opinion. Others may disagree. The graphics are better, the more details. So the artwork is much better in retail. But then again, when you had classic, they upgraded it a little bit, so it was better in classics. You still have the flooded zone coming in here. You just level so much faster. Shows you your pet levels of what pets you can train out of those areas. You have a bunch of those. So yeah, the world has changed quite a bit. So I may do a video of leveling up gathering and see if there's a group finder. You can get into raid. That's available. I think you still, I don't know if you have it in I have to go back and look. I don't think we do in here. If you get a bonus if there's a yellow dot, meaning they need tanks. So I'm level 60. I have to go get used to healing. I've done healing a monk way back when. I'm going to go to one of my other monks and look and research that. I do not plan to get too much back into classic. I just had player housing in some areas you can go into, and it was just weird. If you're just starting out, it's I'll show you character I created on Laughing Skull because I figured they had to have a Gesundheit. Triv moved around. We all moved. We went to Ravencrest, and everybody moved off a Laughing Skull. So when you come in here, you'll see glasses on now because I need them. But if you look at the characters, you'll see the realm name. So Fizzcrank and Agrimar are linked together. And so you can come up here and you pick a specific. I only have one character in Laughing Skull. I just created. I don't know how many characters you can create on this. I think 65 is still the. So I created an evoker is a caster, and they're a lot like the Worgans. Pandas are the neutral ones. You start out neutral until a certain level. And you pick. There was a guy that leveled his up, max level, stayed on Panda Island. He never got a faction choice. I'll show you what the dragons are, to me, similar to the. Let's go back to the character creations because I forget the name. There is a DPS and tank. Yeah, I put a herbal bag and a description on here. I don't think I needed them. Live and learn. Nightborns are a different race. I don't know, because with the other ones you could switch. When you get boosted, you kind of learn stuff that you might know otherwise. I don't know if you can switch to show your human or not human. So this is a word character, obviously. But there it is. I was playing around with the. What I'll do is I will go and show you the other race I was talking, or class I was talking about. Is a demon hunter. To me, is a lot like the invoker. So since I haven't played this, and so there's a gear upgrade, it's telling me I can upgrade to war with them. to change servers for that one. And with the gear upgrade, you have to switch realms because my characters are so old, 5 years. There was gear upgrades along the way, sort of like a boost, but for gear. So I, of course, got caught up when I was trying to get into raiding of keeping up with the eye level of my gear and my weapons, because certain raids required it, certain instances eventually required it.
Heroes of the Alliance, the Dragon Isles have awakened and beckon the dragon flights home. Meet me in
So you had
where I shall
vengeance.
present the Aspect's invitation to the Alliance.
You have Havoc, or you can tank or DPS. You don't have them. You don't have a healer spec. Oh, I'm in my town. No, I don't think this is Stormwind. Maybe it is. Yeah, it is a Stormwind. There's a area you go into, you have your own housing for a minute. It looked like it. Yeah, it has its fun. Don't get me wrong. They did do a good job on it. But yeah, this interface is nice here where you can see all your characters. I'll show you what I talk about a gear upgrade. Let's find one that I have not looked into. And I went through all of them, I don't know. Characters left over from when I played in there. There's a famous tank in our... Oh, this one has an update. So what I can do, we have to change it. See the red lettering there. So I need to go to... You have to be on that realm. It's some of these characters where I had the... I'll tell you the currents as holy. So you need to go translog stuff again. And when you log in, you'll find all your crap in the mail.
Heroes of the Horde, the Dragon Isles have awakened and beckon the dragon flights home. Meet me in Orgrimmar, where I am about to present the Aspect's invitation.
I look at my alchemy and my herbalism are 1 and 1. So basically, I have to go relearn all of my skills. Garrison is... That's where you had the player housing. Is there build the garrison up? So people will just go stay in their garrisons. They have their trading house. Let's see if I can show you. They do have, I'll show you, I'll activate all of them. They have more action bars here than I really Oops. Come on, wrong. So to understand, as warlords of Draenor, nuclear housing, you can build them up, and a lot of people, myself included, built them up so that you could go into each other. They were kind of, sometimes you could go and be at different levels so you wouldn't see each other. You'd have a clubhouse. Call to arms. You can do all of the dungeons and mapping out of here, Warsaw maps. I had, you can get your auction houses. I didn't necessarily have them in all the characters. But yeah, Warlords of Draenor was where they kind of started to go a little bit off the rails. But yeah, Amadeus, I will, Azamari. Are my favorites. So you come in, these are your favorites that you have in there. And when you look at so the game upgrades are $49 for the base model. We have 69, and they have, of course, the bigger one is 89. They all come with a level 70 boost. So you can do that. Obviously, if you're level 60, it doesn't take that long to get up to where you're going. And yeah, so that is retail. Oops, what I should do here is just to show you. So I don't think they have tokens in retail anymore. Let me go look on the character itself. The idea of tokens, primarily besides microtransactions where you can make rules of money, is to defeat gold sellers. Gold sellers to this day are a problem in the sense they will take your credit card. Excuse me. Information. That's how kids. Oh, they do have a lot of token. So for $20, I can get 284,000 gold. So in retail, it's a much more lucrative thing to consider. I'd do that for 20 bucks if I was playing retail for sure. But I'm not at the moment. Other than so, as we show off my phone charger, say hello to our friends at Under Pressure Brewing in beautiful Golden Valley, South by Southeast and beautiful Pine Island, or others that you may find in your areas. And check out the Hop Passport. Hop Passport is a way for breweries that aren't necessarily as popular as others to get listed, and you get a stamp, buy one, get one free, and you can get a t-shirt for filling it up. So it's an intriguing way to have a road trip, to go through and check out the different ones, because they're all really neat. They'll tell you how pet friendly they are, if they are or aren't, and if they are, how pet friendly. Some will have it in part, some not. Like, for example, Chaotic was out on the patio because they serve food inside. That depends upon the food rules and regulations in the area. But yeah, check them out. Check out my books at sellersjr.com, my overall website, geekfeng.com, and this channel, which I appreciate if you like, subscribe, setting the bell, and commentaries as long as you keep on the rails. Please like. If you think you can do better, please do let me know. I'll take a look. And if your comments pass muster, other than the one that it came for the girl, that was their answer, the girl in the thumbnail, not the gaming, and they were disappointed. Well, yeah, that is how I roll. I create thumbnails for the game that are eye-catching, and they are clearly labeled what the game they are for, whether it's World of Warcraft or any other games that I put on this channel, so that YouTube doesn't get upset. So please like, subscribe, set the bell, comment, and we'll see you in the next video. Please like, comment, subscribe, set the bell, but please like at least.